Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to see so many people joining us today. My name is Mary Elizabeth Fukai, and I serve as Assistant Director of the Women's Philanthropy Board. For those of you who might not be familiar with us, the Women's Philanthropy Board is an educational outreach and philanthropic arm of the College of Human Sciences at Auburn University. And we provide educational programs to the public on a wide variety of topics, as well as mentoring initiatives within Auburn University. I'm delighted to welcome you today to our WPB Roundtable, highlighting the upcoming Rane Culinary Science Center. And now I'll turn the program over to College of Human Sciences Dean Susan Hubbard.
Good afternoon. It is such a pleasure to see so many wonderful faces of familiar members of WPB and new members, and we are so excited to bring this program to you today. We've been so anxious to share this exciting news and to literally be able to show you and walk you through this wonderful opportunity that's being built across College Street from us today. If you've not been down College Street and you live in the community, please drive by and see what great progress is happening on the corner across from Sanford Hall. I know you've heard about this project for a while. The Tony and Libba Rane Culinary Science Center has been a dream of the College of Human Sciences for over 10 years, and work has been moving forward for over 10 years to develop this one-of-a-kind, truly differential educational opportunity that you will not see any other place in the U.S. and I would dare say the world. We are so excited to share our vision with you, to share the opportunities for our students, the opportunities for our community, for our state, and for our nation. So there is a part for all of us. So I hope you're as excited about it when you hear about this project as we all are. It has certainly been a labor of love for a lot of people for a very long time. But we are excited today to share the educational initiative opportunities with you, as well as the external opportunities for outreach and engagement with our communities. But this project is certainly something that is coming out of the ground quickly. We hope to have our students being educated in the facility by fall of 22. So not far down the road, we will actually be in the facility. So we, as we move through this presentation today, Martin and Hans will share updates with you. So let me introduce our main speaker for today is Dr. Martin O'Neill. Martin has been with Auburn since 2003. He arrived, I believe, on maybe New Year's Eve, 2002, and started with us in early 2003 as a faculty member. Has moved into the department head position for nutrition, dietetics, and hospitality management. He moved into that position about 14 years ago or so. So he's been leading those efforts for those department programs for a while now. And joining also with us today is Hans van der Rijden. Hans is the Managing Director of Hotel Operations and Educational Initiatives at the hotel at Auburn University, and many of you know Hans as well. He'll chime in, I'm sure, as we move through the program that Martin presents for us today. And we'll have opportunity to answer questions near the end. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking time today, this beautiful rainy day in Auburn, to join us and hear about this amazing facility. And please know that it is absolutely a facility for the entire College of Human Sciences, although our hospitality management program will be housed there. We certainly will have courses offered and taught in the facility by all of our programs. We'll have opportunities for events for all of our programs and hosting meetings and activities. So we are, as a college, very excited about this project, but certainly for our hotel, our hospitality management degree program will be housed there, and we're very excited for them. But I'll introduce now and turn it over to Dr. Martin O'Neill to take us through and share these exciting images with you this afternoon. Martin.
Thank you, Susan, and thank you, WPB, and in particular, Mary Elizabeth, for presenting the opportunity today. I also want to thank WPB before I get going. As a department head, I'm very familiar with a lot of the really good work that WPB does here, both on and off campus. And I know that a lot of my faculty and students have benefited immeasurably from research support and from scholarships over certainly the 18, 19 years that I have been at Auburn. And for that, I'm very, very grateful. I want to thank the audience today for taking the time out to be with us and give me the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about what's going on behind me. You will see the image pertaining to the Tony and Rane Culinary Science Centre. There's a lot of fuss about it in the community right now. There are a lot of questions. There's an awful lot of excitement. And really, my goal today is to impress upon you the primary mission of the centre. While it's very easy to think of it commercially, the primary mission is really education, and talk to you about how it's going to enable us to offer what we like to term a very differential standard of hospitality management education at Auburn. Before moving into it, I need to share I'm somewhat technologically challenged. So Michelle McBride from our development office is joining me today, and she's going to be controlling the progression. As I understand it, I'm just going to give a little bit of background information initially on the program, and then we're going to take you through a few fly-through animations of the various offerings within the centre. My suggestion to Michelle this morning was at the end of each to pause for a little bit and give you the opportunity to ask questions. I am suggesting that because there's a lot in this video when played in its entirety, and I like to say there is the possibility of a sensory overload because of what you're going to see today. So Michelle, let's go ahead and get started with the program. And by the way, at any point, if you all want to move questions through Mary Elizabeth, I'll be happy to take those if she wants to interject and ask. So anyway, a little bit of background about Auburn and its hospitality management program. It's older than I am, and I have to say that because on the weekend I came across a public service announcement by the Social Security Administration addressed to seniors over 55, and I'm fast approaching that, so I really had to take note. But actually, it's not older than I am. The program really was established here as an outgrowth of a former home economics and food service management program in 1987. And I want to say, Susan, I think you were around at that point in time when they were delivering that very first program, and I think you were one of the first graduates to come off it. But it's been around for quite a long time, and the undergraduate program initially was known as Hotel and Restaurant Management. So we offered a Bachelor of Science in Hotel and Restaurant Management, but about 4 or 5 years ago, we started to look at what was going on in the wider world of hospitality management education, not only here within the United States, but internationally. And that also really was part of what we were doing when we were out benchmarking for, how will I put it, other leaders in the hospitality management education field, and how they were offering their students an experiential education to help grow the experience. We came back to the drawing board really with the need for what we will term a core, a Bachelor of Science core in hospitality management, but the need to offer students 3 tracks, as it were, 3 concentrations. And the 3 that we settled on were our mainstay, Hotel and Restaurant Management, which is food and lodging, event management, which really speaks for itself, and then culinary science, which is really a mix of culinary arts and science. And, you know, we've had tremendous growth over recent years, particularly with respect to the event management option. And then more recently, I think last fall was our first offering on the culinary front, and we're fast approaching the cap that we will attach to each cohort when they arrive here at Auburn. While we're known well for our undergraduate program, and there are a lot of reasons for that, but most particularly within the state of Alabama, there are about 7 programs offerings right now across a variety of different universities. But we remain the only one that is professionally accredited by the Commission for Programs in Hospitality Administration. And in actual fact, we've gone through 2 iterations of that in our time. We were recently reaccredited approximately 2 years ago. Beyond our undergraduate, we also offer distinct and standalone master's and doctoral degrees in hospitality management, and we also have a newly minted Master of Science program in brewing science and operation. So we're programmatically in a very good place, and we're enjoying all that we do with respect to the delivery of those programs. Of course, the question is, well, how do we offer a differential standard of education to our students? Well, our concentration over the years has been on high impact learning experiences for all of our students. And in actual fact, the WPB has helped and aided with respect to that, as have many other donors that are attached to the university and the program. But some of the things that stand out, we require as a standard that all students have at least 600 hours of work experience in the hospitality industry. There are two things that qualify. It has to be recent and it has to be relevant. So we have a lot of students who would like to come on board and claim prior working hours from their times as high school students. We no longer allow that. We want the hours taken on program, and again, they need to be approved hours, i.e. relevant hours, and approved by the faculty. They need to complete those prior to taking their hospitality internship, which, as you know, for many students is a senior level sort of summer experience, but you need to know that our students can apply to and take those internships really at any point in the year across any semester. So we're very, very open to that. Students all have to carry at least a 2.2 GPA in courses in order to continue to progress in the program. And they have to have a grade of C or higher in order to move up and move on in all courses taken. One of the things that has been sort of quite distinguishing to date has been our partnership initially with the Capella Hotel Group, and then more recently with Ithaca Hospitality Partners, who, as you know, as a group is directed by Hans van der Rijden, who I know is on the line today. We have always required our students to take what we will call our hospitality practicum course at the Hotel and Conference Center. So they would get a variety of rotations operationally, and in the past also from a supervisory perspective across all of the operating and the functional units within the Hotel and Conference Center. The goal being really that when students graduate, they hit the ground running. They are job ready, for want of a better term. One of the other things that we pride ourselves on is really setting our students apart when it comes to the placement process. In other words, post-graduation. Of course, you know, a lot of this starts pre-graduation, and it's all about their resume and helping develop their resume, not only with respect to work experience, but also a lot of the other high impact learning experiences that we offer. Many of you will be familiar with the California Study Tour. I'm sure you're familiar also with our international study tours. I'm sure you're familiar also with a lot of the relationships that we have with many in the food and wine field that allow us to take students for immersive experiential study experiences, not only across the United States, but also internationally. And what that does is it really sets a standard and sets the student apart whenever it comes to the job application and the search process. So much so that there are employers who really will only come to Auburn University. And I'm looking at a group of students right now that participated in a California study tour some years ago, and one of our wonderful partners over there is Trinchero Family Winery. Trinchero will only come to Auburn to recruit students for a lot of their programs. So it's really nice to have that opportunity and to have those relations in the industry such that students can benefit from them. In terms of growing our pedigree, in terms of trying to constantly make a difference in the mind of students, we've looked at a variety of different concepts over the last 2 decades, predominantly around the area of experiential education. And most programs, particularly those that are known internationally as having a pedigree standard, would have some form of operational environment where students are able to practice their craft. So both Hans and myself sat down with the then Dean Hinton, quite some time ago to talk about that and the urgency with which we needed to address it. Over the years, I mean, we looked at re-engineering buildings, retrofitting buildings, building new buildings. There were all manner of concept that came across the desk. And I think finally one day June suggested we ought to go out and benchmark and have a look at what the best of the best were actually doing. So we did. Hans likes to say our frequent flyer balances flew off the roof. I can tell you, as nice as it was to travel, it was also quite exhausting. But we did get to visit quite a number of the leading hotel schools across the planet. We've been to South Africa, we've been to South America. In actual fact, I want to say Sid James joined us on our trip to South America at that point in time, to Lima and Cusco in Peru. We've been to Australia, we've been all across Europe, and we've looked at a lot of programs, mostly who were known for doing one thing, whether it were food oriented, whether it were culinary in a production sense, whether it were wine oriented, whether it were lodging. And when we came back, well, June asked us what we wanted to do, basically, and we really didn't have an answer. We said, well, this school is good at that, this school is good at the other. We'd like to do all of it. And I think her response was, well, why don't you? So the next step in that process was, if we wanted to do it all, to get someone to help fund it. And that's where the Rane family came in. And we are very, very grateful for the support that they have given to this project. I've often heard it said that Mr. Rane used to visit colleges across campus and speak to the fact that there was no shortage of money, there were only a shortage of good ideas. Suffice to say that when we met with him, I think it was Thanksgiving Day morning. I couldn't believe when I was asked to attend that meeting, but nonetheless I did. We presented our ideas and he warmed to it immediately, such that we've now broken ground. And as Susan shared at the front end of the meeting, we're hoping to occupy this beautiful center in the summer of 2022 with a view to full activation in the fall of 2022. So I think I'm going to turn it over to Michelle right now, who's going to run our first short little animation. Is that correct, Michelle?
Yes, I'm going to start it right now.
And I think I'm going to try and animate it as best I can.
Yes. There we go.
Thank you. So the view you're looking at right now is the crisscross between Thatch and College, with the hotel off to the right. And this is really the front door, the main entrance to the center. As you come through here, you'll see a coffee shop off to the right and a coffee roastery. That will be a commercial offering within the center. Directly across is the 1856 restaurant, which will be a teacher training restaurant and the attaining food production kitchen. Just off to the back of that, you will see a private dining room where we will hope to have many private events for patrons of the center. And right behind that will be the lower floor of a two-story wine tasting center. The restaurant will accommodate up to 42 seats, I believe 46 at a stretch. Moving down what we call our culinary corridor, you will have a range of different culinary laboratories that are focused on banqueting, that are focused on a la carte production. And then right toward the end down here, we will have a separate bakery, which will also concentrate on patisserie and confectionery, sugar type work, chocolate work, so on and so forth. Here you're coming up College. That's me on the bicycle. I did ask on the front, I'm always winning the race here. I did ask that they include this particular image. Have we had come to a standstill, Michelle? Or
Yes, I can advance to the next slide when you're ready.
Oh, okay. So what I want to say really about that initial animation is that there are a number of commercial outlets that you've just seen. There is the coffee roastery, and there's also 1856. You need to know that when you're looking at the warm moving bodies in each of those will be students under instruction. Unlike most of the service personnel in Aricha and at the Hotel and Conference Center, we do have students who work there, but all of our students will be undertaking a lecture lab combination of classes as they progress through their program. Initially, that will be operational within the 1856 restaurant, but as they progress through their junior and senior year here at Auburn, what students will do is take on a more managerial leadership function, where they will be directing teams around the development of a menu, around the production of that menu, execution of the service of that menu, and then in a post sense, the evaluation of how that event actually went on the day in question. So go ahead, roll the tape there, Michelle.
Okay, to the next slide.
So what you're seeing here is what we're going to call our green space. We're going to heavily traffic that with farmers markets and so on weekends and evenings. You're looking right at what will be the only microbrewery in downtown Auburn, and certainly on campus. And then as we move off to the right of that, this will be our on-site food hall. Where there are two things we're doing. We're offering a higher standard of food to the public for sale and for consumption, but also we're offering a number of what will be termed entrepreneurial outlets for students who have an interest in developing and proofing a concept immediately after graduation. The goal being they proof the concept, then they go out to the market at large. You move up one floor. This is looking over the atrium, as it were, or the main entrance to the center. You move into the wine education room. You will see that this is a theater style teaching room. We will be using it not just to teach wine studies, but also class. That is right immediately beside that is our distilled spirit center. You'll see a micro distillery right at the back end of that. And again, we'll be using that as a shared teaching space. And then right at the end of the center, we have what will be our food demonstration kitchen. So when we bring in chefs in residence, when we bring in chefs of notable pedigree, they will be coming in and working through not just within class, but also in an outreach sense on weekends, the preparation of various dishes, and then the tasting and the sensory evaluation that goes on around them. This is a food arts laboratory. A lot of our culinary classes will traffic that. The idea being to have the students better represent the product that they are producing in the laboratory. And then we move into our main easel teaching space on that same floor. I want to say the second and third floor is also given over to faculty offices. There's a variety of different spaces that are given over for student interaction outside of the classroom. And then also our graduate programs are also going to be housed on those second and third floors. Michelle, if you could just stop it for a second. One of the interesting things actually about the restaurant and what we're attempting to do with the food function is the chef in residence program. Our goal is to feature world-beating sous chefs and executive chefs in the restaurant who will work with the students on the development of a very, we think, sophisticated tasting menu, which will be offered for sale every evening that the center is open. And then also to work with students in an operational sense across the normal lunch service. So I think what we're looking at here right now is what we will call the Brewing Science Laboratory, where a lot of the more scientific work goes on behind the scenes with respect to our on-campus brewery. And this is really just a look at some of the more public and or teaching spaces that we have available to students. The view, I have to say, is just going to be absolutely fantastic out that corner window right there of Sanford Hall. So any questions about any of that to this point? No. So let's move on, Michelle. So this is the Laurel Hotel. So we're not only doing food and beverage as best we can, we're also offering a training hotel for our students. And this is going to be focused very much on ultra luxury. Students will be met at the jump lobby. They will be accompanied, or members of the public accompanied by students, and walked through the registration process. This is what we're calling our library lounge. So, you know, there will be a light breakfast, there will be hors d'oeuvres served over lunch, and an evening service for all those that are staying in the hotel. The hotel comprises 32 rooms, exactly 10 king suites, 16 king rooms, and then there are 6 live-in units that are attached right at the front end, 2 on each floor on the top 3 floors. Michelle will talk to you a little bit more about opportunities that exist around those whenever we get to that point. Just as with the 1856 restaurant, students will be in training with respect to the Laurel Hotel. So initially at the front end of the program, they will be engaged very much in the full guest cycle as it relates to the operation of the hotel. And then as they progress through their junior and senior year, they'll take on a more managerial supervisory function. Attached to the hotel is the spa that you just saw. And then for residents on the top floor, well, we have the cabana area and the rooftop pool, which affords, once again, just a beautiful view of downtown Auburn and campus in general. And this rooftop garden, of course, will also serve as an event center for our event students, who will be keen to, again, practice their craft all the way from idea conception through to execution and evaluation as they progress through their program. So that is the Tony and Libba Rane Culinary Science Center. That is what's coming up out of the ground. That is what takes our breath away every day and forces us to pinch ourselves on the way into campus. And we will be very, very, very happy to take any questions that you may have in relation to it. I will finish by saying that when I'm done, Michelle will be free and available to talk to you about how you may wish to get involved, if at all, in a philanthropic or developmental sense. So thank you, and thank you again for affording the opportunity.
Yes, and I know that was a lot. So if anyone would like to see anything again, please let me know. I tried to pause a couple times, but with this animation, once you pause a couple times, it starts over. So I apologize for the glitch there. But certainly, looking ahead, if you'd like to learn more, there's the website currently, ranecenter.auburn.edu. We will also be starting another site with some more information about the center. We have philanthropic naming opportunities for the center, all of which can be paid over a 5-year period. And if you'd like to host a session with some friends, we can do a virtual Zoom party for you and some friends with some special treats. And our travel is also opened up, so we're happy to visit with anyone at any time. But on the ranecenter.auburn.edu site, you will find this list of naming opportunities. So literally on every floor of the center, just about anything you can imagine, a really unique opportunity to get involved and literally put your mark on the center with all the good work that's going to be done there. So please let me know if there's anything anyone would like to see, and certainly we're happy to entertain any questions. Our team, Kim McCurdy and Sydney Fauché, are on the call as well.
We've had one question come in through the chat from Lee, who wants to know that given the hit the hospitality industry has taken during the pandemic, do you expect fewer students entering the field?
No, not at all. In actual fact, it's been exactly the reverse. There's been more interest in education at the undergraduate and also at the graduate level. And that's not just something that Auburn's experiencing. That seems to be nationwide. I think from experience, we've been through, certainly in my time at Auburn, through quite a few economic crises. And that has always been the trend. When people are facing hardship in the working environment, they tend to look for alternative opportunities. And professional development through education is always one of those things that folks want to do. But I think I'm conscious that this is still a very serious problem that we all face right now, not just nationally but internationally. I'm reading what's going on in my own country, Ireland, on the weekend, and also Italy. And it'll take a little bit of time, I think, before we get back to normal. But I do believe that hospitality is a very safe bet, really, for anyone. I mean, we're typically the first to suffer industrially, but always the first to come right back at it. And the reason for that is, if you think about it, we replace our travel form. We're no longer international in a time of crisis. In actual fact, what's better for the economy is we're doing more domestic. We're probably, because of health concerns, doing shorter trips, but more of them, but also high impact trips. The other thing that I've realized, and it's not just an American phenomenon, this is worldwide, we like to eat. We really like to eat, and we like to eat away from home. So, it's been wonderful to watch the restaurant industry, specifically here in Auburn, react to the crisis that we were all caught largely, by surprise by last year, and watch the reaction, look at their different forms of operation and engagement with the public and how they've altered their product. It's a very resilient industry. And I think if anything that the last 12 months is taught us is that it's a pretty safe bet for the future career-wise.
Awesome, thank you. AJ says, first, that was absolutely incredible. And she's wondering if there are any plans to work with the city of Auburn to support or incentivize students to keep their businesses here in town.
Look, what I would say is that we are very open-minded, and having invested in students, of course, it makes perfect sense to want to have them invest in the Auburn community. One of the things that really I never touched on, but I should, is that while there is an educational mission to this center, and that's our primary responsibility, there is also a community and a larger outreach mission. We've been socializing the initial concept and socializing the center right across campus and throughout the broader community for about the last, I would say certainly the last 12 to 18 months. And we're making it very, very clear that this belongs to not just the Auburn University community, but Auburn in the broadest possible sense. I think the question AJ is asking relates to the two incubator units that we're going to have in the food center. So AJ, yeah, absolutely. I think our goal would be, as I've said, having invested in the students and having helped them benefit from the know-how and the expertise that exists on campus, we would love to see them stay within the community and would work hand over fist, for want of a better term, with the municipal council to make sure that that happened. Of course, we can't dictate it, but we'll work very hard to try and make sure that that happens. I'll tell you one thing I've learned in my 19 years here is that when people are bitten by the Auburn spirit, they tend to not want to give it up very, very quickly. They tend to want to remain within this community for any number of reasons. But I think you all know what I'm talking about. This cultural thing that you all have here is very, very tangible and very appealing and very, very alive.
I would like to take an opportunity quickly to remind you all that what we've experienced today is a sneak preview. So we hope you're enjoying the sneak preview, but because it is a sneak preview, it has not been rolled out publicly. So we'll ask you not to post any snaps you might have taken on social media until we officially roll this out. But we wanted to make sure during this session that we provided you background information and sneak previews. And of course, Michelle mentioned the website that will be coming live soon with the animation available to you there. But we're excited to share this before it's really truly released to the public.
Nicole wants to know how you'll encourage diversity, as we know people of color and women are still underrepresented, especially in senior culinary roles.
Yeah, look, I would say, I mean, that's my mainstay is hospitality, and we work and collaborate on a number of levels, nationally with International CRE, regionally with International CRE, with the American Hotel and Lodging Association, and then at a more regional level with the Alabama Department of Tourism, and then our various hospitality and restaurant groups. And that is a challenge. It's a problem. It's not a problem that's specific to Auburn. It's a problem that exists nationally and internationally, but every day we work hard to try and improve on that. We're fully focused, Nicole, on diversity within the classroom. We're very fully focused on trying to find opportunities to encourage diversity and inclusion, not just within the classroom, but opportunities beyond the classroom for all of our students. The doors are open to the public at large, and the public at large is how we are viewing our customer base. We are very focused at a university level on that. I even read a communication that came out this morning through the Provost Office once again in relation to it. But there are a series of efforts that are underway at the program level, at the department level, at the college level, and then at the university level that continue to underline the importance of that issue, not just for what we're going to do in the Culinary Center, but for all of our programming efforts here at Auburn. I like to say I operate the most diverse unit on campus, actually, when it comes to, certainly when it comes to faculty. I think at this point we only across 18 faculty employ 2 Americans. So sorry, I'm teasing, of course. but a good question, and you need to know that we're working hard on that every single day.
May I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Great. Hi, Martin. This is Paul Harris in Political Science.
Hey, Paul.
And I just wanted to ask, I was so happy to see this podcast, not podcast, but so happy to see this presentation. I'm sorry I'm joining a little late, but one thing that I have learned when I travel primarily to Germany is the importance of the internship or the practical year in hospitality. And I know I've spoken to Hans about this because I've met a lot of his throughout the years, students, interns from all over the world. And I was wondering what your thoughts were on this. For example, bringing in sommeliers from, let's say, Belgium or France, just throwing that out.
Oh, we work, Paul, we work hard on that every single day. I mean, I don't know when you joined the presentation, but one of the things that really defines the program, and I said it earlier, is the full range of what we term high impact learning experiences that we afford students. So we're constantly bringing people in, not just nationally, but internationally to engage. So for example, we're one of 5 schools that continue to work with the Guild of Master Sommeliers. So they send in a number of their masters, typically 3 every year, although they had to cancel last year for good reason, to put through students through the intro program. We also work with the Society of Wine Educators all the way through their introductory program through to their certified wine educator for students. We have an annual gala where our students with partners in the Hotel and Conference Center are responsible for all of the planning and execution of what is our signature fundraiser. Now, to put that in context, on a good night, that's at least $400,000 that those students raise, again, because of a lot of the partnerships that we have. So we're bringing winemakers in from all across the world. Taittinger, for example, that you're familiar with in a champagne sense, has been a signature sponsor of that event for quite a number of years. So we're doing that. We're doing that all the time. We also have an internship program where we very much encourage students to get into the field. This is really going to be an extension of that so that they're better able to hit the ground running. So there's a lecture and a laboratory component to just about every class that we have on our curriculum right now. So students can make the mistakes, can learn from the mistakes in an educational environment such that when they graduate and enter the world of work, they know exactly what they're doing. There's no scratching of heads. The international, you and I think we've touched bases on international programming before. We have an array of international programs, and I've been attached to quite a few of them over the years. And where we have the opportunity to send students internationally, we take that opportunity, not just for a study abroad experience, but to really fully immerse themselves educationally and also in the world of work. So we're very conscious of it, and we think that this center is going to give us, I guess, a way of adding value to what it is that we're producing in the form of good quality interns and or graduates of our program.
Thank you.
Not a question, but a comment. Tia Gonzalez says, this is thrilling, and she would be happy to share her expertise and herbs from the Auburn University Medicinal Plant Garden.
Yeah, I saw the comment, and Tia, that would be very welcome. Of course, you know, we don't exist in a silo here, and we're very conscious that if we're running a living garden that is going to fuel what we do in an educational sense in those culinary laboratories, that we're going to need a lot of help. And primarily, we're reaching out through Paul Patterson, the Dean of Agriculture, for assistance with respect to that. Need to clarify that even with those gardens, as extensive as they may look, they will never be able to supply all the product that is needed. So we're focused on farm to table in as much as we can be. And when we're able to source local product and see that represented and presented well on the table, we're going to be all about it. So sustainable agriculture is actually a big focus of what we're attempting to do with 1856 and the entire culinary program. So, I mean, our goal really ultimately and finally is to see these linkages intersectorally develop to the point within the state of Alabama that we're keeping an awful lot more of the tourist dollar within Alabama. Having to import goods and services to meet our needs within that center just seems like a deplorable concept to me. There's no way to get away from it in certain instances, but when it comes to agriculture, absolutely. So your offer of assistance would be very welcome. Thank you.
I have a question. Obviously, you are student focused. This is an educational facility, but also as a resident of Auburn, what kinds of educational opportunities will be available to, adult participants?
So this speaks to the outreach component of what we're doing. And we're looking at outreach from a community perspective, and we're looking at outreach from a workforce development perspective. From a community perspective, you can expect of an evening and on weekends to find programs that are offered around the marriage of food and wine, around the sensory evaluation of wine, wines from different countries, wines from different regions in the world, the marriage of food and beer. That is an emerging concept, and we will have an on-campus on-facility producer who will be able to supply product for that and deal with a lot of the education that we will provide around it. You would expect a lot of culinary classes. So to come back to the demonstration kitchen at Mary Elizabeth, let's just say for the sake of argument, Bobby Fillet were here on a Saturday, and he would be showing you all how to break down a chicken and do something with it. And we would all ooh and ah and look at that, but then we would move you down into the culinary laboratories where you would get to practice that yourself, and then possibly at the end of the day marry that up with a number of wines. So I know that's something that Hans is going to be very focused on with his team, and that is something that we're going to be very focused on here also. I want to point out that our event management track, I mean, we've worked on the Hospitality Gala over the years, which has developed a wonderful reputation for what the students do. The rooftop and other outlets in the center will also allow the event management program to offer smaller events for sale to the public at large. I don't know what they may be. Not weddings, I don't think. I think the hotel covers that up well. But, family gatherings, birthdays, things of that nature, where the faculty and the students would be working with the customer to fully develop the concept, cost the concept out, and then execute that on the part of. And I can't think of a better learning experience, really. So there's going to be a wide array of programs that are going to be available, and we're hoping that the public will, they certainly have been expressing a lot of interest to this point, but we hope that they will take full advantage. Now, to workforce development, that's where we're working with industry. I mean, tourism is a $14+ billion industry in the state of Alabama right now, and still people are having to leave the state for education and training. And we don't want that, and neither does the industry. So we're going to be working with industry to develop a range of programs at the certificate, potentially the diploma level, that will allow further professional development for industry professionals. So does that answer the question?
Absolutely. Sounds fabulous. Do we have any other questions? Hans, is there anything you would like to add?
I think Martin did a fantastic job in explaining all this. I'm excited to see what is happening. And when you drive by South College and Thatch, and you see this building coming out of the ground, it's impressive. And we are looking at an August next year, a full opening, and most probably a soft opening in the month of July. And we want to make sure that everything has been tested and the training wheels have been taken off before the students arrive in August. But it's a game changer. It's a game changer for Auburn. And as Martin explained, we literally found the best of the best all over the world, but in just one particular silo only. And we were able, given the opportunity, to put all these individual examples of excellence in one particular area in our industry together into one grand vision. And the location is so specific to this. It's really on the intersection of campus and community. It's very visible, as you can see, lots of glass. We want it to be as transparent as possible, and anybody walking, driving, cycling, skateboarding by to see these students at work and being chefs in training, hoteliers in training, restaurateurs in training, brewers in training. It's exciting.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Martin and Hans and Michelle and Dean Hubbard, for sharing all of this information with us today. It's really exciting. It's really thrilling obviously from the university standpoint, from College of Human Sciences standpoint, but also from, the Auburn community standpoint. So thank you so much for taking the time to share with us today. And thank you everyone for joining us. If you would like to see this again, or if you would like to share this presentation with any friends who couldn't make it today, this recording will be up on our WPB YouTube channel within the next 48 hours or so. So I'll put that link in the chat if you would like to go back and visit it. At some point, it will stay up there, for indefinitely. So feel free to go back and take a look at this at any time and spread the word. And we do have one more WPB Roundtable program coming up in 2 weeks. On April 1st, Jessica Ventieri, who is the District Attorney Pro Tem, will be sharing about her journey to the District Attorney office and also what the Lee County justice system is like. So if you would like more information about that, please let me know. And we hope to see y'all in the future. Thank you so much for being with us today.